Welcome agents, so you've seen the title and I'm sure you've all got your own opinions on Rogue 3.0, which is great because I want you to all get involved in the comments below. Today I want to look at what could be done to make Rogue 3.0 successful. If we can try and hit 250 likes in this video, that would be awesome. And please, be nice in the comments. I know what some of you are like. With that said, let's do this. Okay agents, so I don't really know where to start. I think it's important we look briefly at Rogue 1.0 and now Rogue 2.0 and see why this isn't working out before we jump into changes that could be made to make it successful within the Division 2. Of course, we don't know anything about going rogue within the Division 2 at this point, so for the purpose of the video, we will assume it will be similar to what we currently have. So let's start off with Rogue 1.0 and Rogue 2.0. So most of you will already know what changes they made to Rogue 1.0, so I won't go into too much detail, but basically the main changes they made were you now have to toggle rogue if you want to do damage to friendly agents. Friendly fire was turned off, and once manhunt you had to clear the status by accessing a terminal located somewhere on the map. Non-rogue agents would be given a general idea on where the terminal is so they can attempt to intercept the manhunts from clearing their status. Non-rogues are rewarded with caches for killing rogues, and manhunts are rewarded for caches for removing their status. So those are the major changes made with Rogue 2.0, and on the surface the changes don't seem so bad. The intentions of these changes were good, but ultimately they have failed, in my opinion, to capture what the Dark Zone is all about. Changes to friendly fire were there to stop the accidental rogue timer which plagued Rogue 1.0, and also to stop body blocking. The toggle rogue feature instead of shoot on sight was implemented to allow PvE players time to react if agents come upon them when they were doing PvE related activities within the DZ. The implementation of the terminals to remove the manhunt status was implemented so rogues didn't just run off their timer from DZ1 to DZ9 as they did within Rogue 1.0, and it was put in place so non-rogue agents had a chance to actually take down the rogue agents, and it was intended to make going rogue more risky. Of course, the devs added the rewards to both parties, manhunt so there was some reward for the increased risk, and non-rogue agents for the same reason. So that's why these changes were put into place, and at first you might think this has all sounded good, but the reality is very different. Everything I just mentioned favoured non-rogue agents in an environment that was meant to be lawless and unforgiving. Rogue agents got a massive nerf whilst non-rogues received a huge buff. I've made my point clear on these changes before, and I'm not going to do that now. What's important is what can be done in the Division 2 that would make Rogue 3.0 successful. I put out a community post 2 days ago asking for your feedback agents, and I want to take a look at some of your suggestions. I've already got an idea on how it could possibly work, which we'll get to, but first, let's see what some of you agents had to say. First off, we have a comment from Face to Foot to the question, how should going rogue work in the Division 2? Face to Foot commented saying, how it used to be, shoot someone. They can keep the terminal, but let's shoot someone and go rogue. Okay, so there were a lot of comments from you agents just simply saying, let's go back to how it used to be. And I understand that because that's how I initially felt myself, but then I realised that's just not going to work for all the reasons I mentioned before. Accent or rogue, body blocking, etc. The reason the devs made these changes was to try and appease everyone. Unfortunately, it didn't work, but Rogue 1.0 didn't work either, and I think we all need to accept that. Of course, there were some fundamental changes that I didn't agree with, and I think how they attempted to tackle the issues with Rogue 1.0 was simply by nerfing Rogue, which wasn't the right way to go. I think just saying go back to how it used to be is an oversight. Yeah, there are many things Rogue 1.0 did right, but many things that was wrong, so changes had to be made. Moving on, and the next comment comes from Jed Klein. I've just taken a snippet for the sake of the video, and they said, make it so rogues don't hurt other rogues. At the very least, somewhat similar to this. Still need to flag. I think my favourite idea is to give us the option to be rogue or not when entering the DZ. The choice can't be changed until you exit and come back. Okay, so this was mentioned twice, I believe, and I personally can't see how this would work. Firstly, you mentioned flagging rogue still being a feature, but then choosing whether to go rogue or not when you enter the DZ, so it would have to be either or, not both. If you had the option to choose whether or not you could go rogue when entering, Would that not cause non-rogue players to camp checkpoints waiting for you to come out as a rogue player? I personally don't like the idea of having to choose whether you want to enter rogue or not, and I just honestly can't see how it would work. I like the spontaneity of just going rogue when I feel like it, rather than being committed to either rogue or non-rogue until I exit the dark zone. And I think the community have already decided they are not happy with flagging rogue, and most would prefer a system similar to what we had in Rogue 1.0. By most, I mean most people who like to PvP in the DZ. I think we need a better solution. The last comment is from Jason Carlton, and I think this is the way to go for Rogue 3.0. Jason Carlton commented saying, "You shoot someone in the dark zone and it does damage, and after X amount you are rogue. The DZ should have friendly fire on for everyone, including squad mates, increasing team play and preventing nade spam." Okay, so let's talk about Jason's comment here, and thanks to everyone who has commented, and I apologise if you weren't featured, but maybe next time. So the devs made changes to Rogue 1.0 to stop accident or rogue, body blocking, and to allow PvE players a chance to react should someone want to PvP. Now we can fix this without flagging, just as Jason Carlton suggested, but I wanted to elaborate a little bit. So the idea is that if you want to PvP, you must do an X amount of damage to a player before you go rogue. Now to avoid the PvP player from having an advantage in this scenario, the bullets you land don't actually do damage to the player, but it fills up a bar which both players can see. Once the bar is filled, PvP can commence and both parties can take and deal damage. This should fix the issue of accident or rogue, but if you do go rogue by accident, you simply need to aim better. No, the point is that this shouldn't happen, and if you go rogue, then you were intending to go rogue and it wasn't by accident. Jason mentioned having friendly fire on for team members as well to increase team play and prevent nade spam. Now I get the idea, but my concern is that this could actually cause a lot of griefing. An example being a duo inviting someone to their team under the pretense that they were joining a team, but instead, when the opportune moment arises, they down that person. I guess you could possibly avoid this by having some significant penalty for downing a fellow team member, but that wouldn't be fair to teams who are generally fighting together and accidentally drop their own team member. I personally think it's fine that we keep friendly fire turned off for team members, and we shouldn't have to worry about nade spam too much, as the devs have significantly decreased the amount of nades that you can carry and the amount of different variations of grenades as well. I believe you can only have 2 variations per character in the Division 2, but if this did become a problem, they could simply lower the inventory more in the dark zone, like 1 grenade per person or something. It's cheesy and it shouldn't make up 50% of PvP battles, and I'm sure most people will be happy with just having 1 grenade for that one scenario or that one situation within a PvP match in the dark zone. To expand on Jason's comment, if they kept the terminal system within the Division 2, which I highly doubt it, they'd need to provide several terminals for manhunts to choose from and keep the location private until the manhunts are within a certain distance of that terminal. The terminals should be scattered, giving the rogues a fighting chance to remove their status without giving them any sort of advantage. The current problem with Rogue 2.0 is that all the non-rogues just sit at the terminal waiting for the manhunts to turn up, and then it's like 20 versus 4, and it's really not fair at all for the manhunts. For anyone heading to the comments following that to say, well, that's payback for the last 2 years, just stop. That doesn't help and it doesn't fix the problem. I'm not going to talk about rewards in this video either, because I think both rogue and non-rogue agents should be rewarded, just like they are now within the Division 2, and it's not really an issue at this point, aside from the rewards are not very good. The chances of you receiving an exotic or classifieds are very low. I think they're low across the board in general, but they are certainly feel low within the dark zone, and possibly within the Division 2 they are going to be just as low. I've always been an advocate of having certain gear or certain weapons being really, really hard to get, and that to me feels the most rewarding. So if they are going to have a reward system within the dark zone for clearing manhunts or rogues, then it needs to be a rewarding experience so that people actually do these activities. So all in all, agents, I think the idea from Jason Carlton and my expanded points could fix the rogue issues and would be a very good basis for Rogue 3.0. Of course, this would all have to be tested, and for all we know, this video might be completely irrelevant when we learn what the devs have in store for the dark zone. Time will tell, I guess. With that in mind though, we've come to the end of the video. I do hope you've enjoyed this one and want to thank you all of you agents, thank you very much for your support. If you've not subscribed, I'd highly recommend you do if you're looking for daily Division and Division 2 content. And remember to turn on notifications so you don't miss out on any of my videos. It's the little bell next to the subscribe button under the video. I'm sure you guys already know where it is because you've already got it turned on. With that said, thanks again. Until the next one, Epic out.